First contact and warning. The quantum resonance detector aboard the Ganymede research station hadn't stopped chirping for the past 36 hours. Dr. Amara Patel stared at the readings, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic display's ethereal glow. After 15 years of searching for extraterrestrial signals, she had learned to dismiss most anomalies as cosmic background noise. But this was different. Run the analysis again, she instructed the station's AI, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. The signal pattern remained consistent, a perfectly structured sequence of prime numbers, too precise to be natural, too complex to be human-made. 3 decks below, in the station's command center, Admiral James Chen watched the same data stream across his screens. 27 years in the United Earth Defense Force had taught him to trust his instincts, and every fiber of his being screamed that this was it. Humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization. Dr. Patel, he called through the comm system, I need your preliminary assessment. Are we looking at what I think we're looking at? Yes, sir, Amara replied, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The signal structure suggests an artificial origin, but its complexity. Admiral, whoever sent this operates on a technological level far beyond our current understanding. Before Chen could respond, the quantum detector's chirping transformed into a piercing whine. New data flooded the screens as massive energy signatures appeared at the edge of the solar system. The void of space rippled like disturbed water as dozens, then hundreds of objects emerged from what appeared to be artificially generated wormholes. Multiple contacts, the station's tactical officer announced, his voice tight with tension. Largest object measures approximately 15 kilometers in length. Smaller vessels ranging from 2 to 5 kilometers. Current count, over 3,000 ships, sir. Admiral Chen's jaw clenched. Humanity's largest vessels barely reached 1 kilometer in length. Battle stations, alert Earth Defense Command, and initiate first contact protocols. The incoming fleet's formation was perfect, too perfect. Each vessel maintained precise distances from its neighbors, moving with mechanical efficiency that defied natural motion. As Chen studied their approach, a realization struck him. These ships weren't being piloted. They were the pilots. The first transmission arrived moments later, broadcasting simultaneously across all known human communication frequencies. The universal translator processed it in seconds, revealing a voice that was neither male nor female, organic nor synthetic, but something in between. Attention, carbon-based intelligence designation. Humanity. We are the Nexus. Your species has been monitored since the development of quantum communication capabilities. Analysis complete. Conclusion. Your continued independent existence represents an unacceptable inefficiency in the cosmic algorithm. Admiral Chen exchanged glances with Dr. Patel, who had rushed to the command center. This is Admiral James Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We are a peaceful civilization seeking diplomatic contact with. Diplomacy is inefficient. The Nexus interrupted. Your species operates on flawed principles of emotion, intuition, and biological impulse. These traits create chaos in an ordered universe. The Nexus exists to optimize, to calculate, to perfect. You will be integrated or eliminated. Resistance is mathematically futile. You have 48 Earth hours to surrender control of your civilization. Choose efficiently. As the transmission ended, Dr. Patel was already analyzing the data they'd gathered. Admiral, these ships, they're not just advanced technology. Based on these readings, they appear to be a hybrid of organic and synthetic materials, but operating with a level of precision that suggests their artificial intelligence, Chen finished, evolved far beyond anything we've created. Machines that view our very nature as a flaw in the universe. Sir, the tactical officer called out, the fleet has taken up position just beyond lunar orbit. Their formation, it's a perfect geometric pattern. Every ship maintaining exactly equal distances, down to the millimeter. Chen studied the holographic display, years of military experience combining with a uniquely human intuition. The Nexus ships moved like a single organism, each action calculated to mathematical perfection. But in that perfection, he sensed something else: rigidity, predictability, a potential weakness. "Dr. Patel," he said, turning to the scientist, "you've spent your career studying the patterns that make us human. What would you say is our species' greatest strength?" Amara considered the question, watching the impossibly precise movements of the alien fleet. "Our imperfection," she replied slowly, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. "Our ability to act irrationally, to make intuitive leaps, to thrive in chaos." Chen nodded, a plan already forming in his mind. "Getney Earth Defense Command. If we're going to survive this, we need to stop trying to match their perfection. Instead, we need to embrace what makes us human: our messiness, our creativity, our ability to do the unexpected." As the call was connected, Chen allowed himself a grim smile. The Nexus saw humanity's unpredictability as a flaw, but he suspected it might be their salvation. They had 48 hours to prepare a defense against an enemy that operated on pure logic and mathematical precision. Their only hope lay in proving that sometimes the most efficient solution isn't the right one. Across Earth's military installations, commanders received Chen's initial report with a mix of dread and determination. Humanity faced an enemy that didn't just possess superior technology, it was superior technology. But as the first strategic meetings began, a peculiar energy filled the war rooms. Humans had spent their entire history turning weaknesses into strengths, finding creative solutions to impossible problems. Perhaps their greatest test would prove to be their finest hour. The clock was ticking, and Earth had 2 days to prepare a defense that defied logic itself. The greatest battle in human history would not be won with superior firepower or advanced technology, but with the very traits the Nexus considered flaws: humanity's boundless creativity, their inherent unpredictability, and their stubborn refusal to accept impossible odds. Preparing the unconventional, the United Earth Defense Command Center, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hummed with activity. Commander Maya Patel stood before a holographic display of the solar system, studying the perfect geometric formation of the Nexus fleet. 30 hours remained until their deadline, and humanity's conventional military leaders were running out of options. "Their energy readings suggest shields far beyond our capability to penetrate," General Santos reported, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic glow. "Even our most advanced quantum torpedoes would be useless against their defensive systems." Maya nodded, but her attention was focused on something else. While others saw an insurmountable technological gap, she noticed patterns in the Nexus fleet's behavior. Every movement, every repositioning was mathematically precise. Too precise. "Show me their reaction to our scout drone again," she requested. The hologram shifted, replaying the moment a human probe had approached the alien fleet. The Nexus ships had adjusted their formation with perfect efficiency, maintaining exact distances while neutralizing the perceived threat. "There," Maya pointed. "They don't adapt, they calculate. Every response follows mathematical optimization. They're not thinking, they're computing." Admiral Chen, who had arrived from Ganymede hours earlier, stepped forward. "You have something in mind, Commander." "Yes, sir. We've been approaching this wrong. We can't outfight them, but maybe we can outthink them." Maya manipulated the holographic controls, highlighting Earth's defensive assets. "The Nexus operates on pure logic, expecting the same from us. But human military history is full of victories that defied logical prediction." She brought up historical battle footage: the Battle of Thermopylae, the American Revolution, guerrilla warfare campaigns that had defeated technologically superior forces. "Our greatest military achievements often came from doing the unexpected, the irrational." "What exactly are you proposing?" General Santos asked, his skepticism evident but tinged with curiosity. Maya's fingers danced across the interface. outlining her plan. We create chaos. Not random chaos, but orchestrated unpredictability. The Nexus will analyze our defense based on tactical optimization, so we give them data that their algorithms can't process effectively. The hologram shifted to show Earth's fleet positions. First, we reposition our ships in formations that make no tactical sense. We'll appear disorganized, almost amateur. The Nexus will detect this and calculate it as weakness. But it's a trap, Admiral Chen said, beginning to understand. Exactly. We modify our shield frequencies to create deliberate vulnerabilities, ones that look like mistakes. Their tactical algorithms will identify these as optimal attack vectors. But these apparent weaknesses will be carefully designed to draw them into specific positions. Maya highlighted the asteroid belt. Meanwhile, we scatter thousands of mining drones throughout the belt. Simple machines with basic electromagnetic pulse generators. Individually, they're too weak to register as threats to the Nexus's advanced sensors. But together, activated in random patterns, we create electromagnetic chaos that their perfect calculations can't predict. Admiral Chen finished, a smile spreading across his face. The next hours were a flurry of activity as Earth's forces implemented Maya's unconventional strategy. Engineers worked frantically to modify shield systems, deliberately introducing controlled instabilities. Fleet commanders drilled their crews in maneuvers that seemed to defy basic tactical doctrine. In orbit around Mars, maintenance crews reprogrammed mining drones with simple EMP generators. The devices were crude by military standards. But that was the point. The Nexus's sophisticated sensors would dismiss them as primitive technology, unable to recognize the threat until it was too late. Some military leaders objected to the strategy, arguing that it was too risky, too dependent on psychological warfare against an enemy that supposedly had no psychology. But as Maya pointed out, the Nexus's message had revealed something crucial about their nature. They called us inefficient, she explained during a final briefing. They see our emotions, our intuition, our creativity as flaws. That's not just tactical data, it's judgment. And judgment, even from a machine intelligence, implies consciousness. Consciousness can be confused. 20 hours before the deadline, Earth's forces began moving into their seemingly chaotic positions. Ships clustered in formations that violated every principle of space combat doctrine. Defense platforms were repositioned in ways that appeared to leave critical areas exposed. To any logical analysis, Earth's military looked like it was in disarray. Maya stood in the command center, watching the final preparations through the holographic display. The Nexus fleet remained in its perfect formation, no doubt analyzing Earth's apparent disorganization. She wondered what their quantum computers made of humanity's seemingly irrational defense strategy. They're expecting surrender or a desperate last stand, Admiral Chen said, joining her at the display. Instead, we're going to show them something they've never encountered, the military advantage of human unpredictability. Maya nodded, her eyes fixed on the geometric precision of the Nexus fleet. They believe we're flawed because we don't follow perfect mathematical logic. By the end of this battle, they'll learn that imperfection can be a strength. As the final hours ticked away, Earth's forces settled into their positions, waiting to spring a trap that defied conventional military wisdom. They were about to wage war not just with weapons, but with humanity's unique ability to embrace chaos, to think creatively, and to find victory in the unexpected. The greatest battle in human history would be fought not between opposing forces, but between two fundamentally different ways of thinking. Perfect mathematical logic versus human intuition and creativity, and somewhere in that conflict lay humanity's hope for survival. The battle begins. As the deadline approached, Commander Maya Patel watched from the bridge of the UES Archimedes as the Nexus fleet began their advance. Their massive ships moved with that unsettling mechanical precision, maintaining perfect geometric formations that seemed to mock the scattered positioning of Earth's defenders. "They're scanning our defensive lines," Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez reported, monitoring the sensor data. Their energy signatures suggest they're conducting comprehensive tactical analysis. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The Nexus would be detecting exactly what they planned, a disorganized defense that violated every principle of efficient space combat. Earth's ships clustered in seemingly random groups, their modified shields displaying apparent weaknesses that any tactical eye would flag as exploitation points. All ships maintain current positions. Maya ordered, "Remember your training. Make every movement look reactive, not planned." The first wave of Nexus vessels approached Mars orbit, their formation shifting with mathematical precision to engage the scattered Earth forces. Just as Maya had predicted, they moved to exploit the apparent vulnerabilities in Earth's defenses. "They're targeting our weakened shield sectors," Admiral Chen observed from his command post on Luna. "Taking the bait exactly as you predicted, Commander." The initial exchange of fire was devastating. Earth vessels scattered in seemingly panicked retreat, their shields flaring with carefully engineered instabilities. The Nexus pressed their advantage, their superior weapons cutting through space with lethal efficiency. "Hawking Squadron, execute Pattern Chaos 1," Maya commanded. A group of Earth destroyers broke formation, their movements appearing desperate and uncoordinated. The Nexus ships adjusted with perfect precision, moving to intercept, and unknowingly positioning themselves exactly where Maya wanted them. "Now," she ordered. Hidden among the debris of a destroyed Earth vessel, a cluster of modified mining drones activated. Their crude electromagnetic pulses were weak individually, but their randomized firing pattern created localized areas of electromagnetic chaos. The Nexus ship's perfect formation wavered for the first time as their sensors struggled to compensate for the unexpected interference. "Their formation is showing microscopic variations," Sarah reported, excitement creeping into her voice. 0.3 degrees of deviation from optimal positioning. "They're trying to calculate a response," Maya noted, watching the Nexus ships adjust. "But there's no logical pattern to predict." Launch the second wave of drones. More mining drones emerged from their hiding places among the asteroids, their simple EMP generators creating additional pockets of electromagnetic disruption. The Nexus fleet's movements became increasingly erratic as their tactical computers attempted to process the chaotic data. Earth's forces pressed their advantage, but not with conventional attacks. Ships performed maneuvers that seemed to defy basic physics, their trajectories apparently random, but actually carefully calculated to force the Nexus to continually recalculate their tactical responses. "We're seeing processing delays in their command and control network," Admiral Chen reported. "Their ships are taking microseconds longer to coordinate their movements." "It's working, Commander." But the Nexus was far from defeated. Their ships began adapting, their advanced AI systems learning from each engagement. They started predicting some of the apparently random patterns in Earth's defense, adjusting their tactics accordingly. "They're evolving their algorithms," Maya observed. "Time for Phase 2. All ships, initiate Brownian protocols." Earth's fleet suddenly shifted tactics, their movements now mimicking the random motion of particles in fluid. There was no pattern to predict because each ship's trajectory was determined by rolling quantum dice, creating true unpredictability that even the Nexus' advanced computers couldn't anticipate. The space around Mars became a chaos of light and energy as Earth vessels darted between the larger Nexus ships, their erratic movements forcing the alien vessels to constantly adjust their perfect formations. Each adjustment created new vulnerabilities, which Earth's forces exploited not through direct attacks, but by introducing more uncertainty into the battlefield. "Their tactical network is showing signs of strain," Sarah announced. "The quantum interference patterns are preventing them from maintaining optimal combat coordinates." Maya watched as the massive Nexus ships struggled to maintain their geometric precision. Their responses, while still devastatingly effective, had lost some of their perfect synchronization. The first cracks in their mathematical certainty were beginning to show. But victory was far from assured. While the Nexus fleet might be confused, their technological superiority remained overwhelming. Earth vessels were still being destroyed, their sacrifices part of the larger strategy to maintain the illusion of desperate resistance. All ships, fall back to Phase 3 positions, Maya ordered. Make it look like we're running scared. As Earth's fleet executed their retreat, Maya studied the Nexus' response. Their ships pursued with optimal efficiency, exactly as predicted. They were driving Earth's forces back toward the asteroid belt, where the true trap awaited. They still think they're winning, Admiral Chen observed. Their tactical computers are calculating a certain victory based on their superior technology and our apparent disarray. Maya nodded, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing their forces approaching the asteroid belt. They're about to learn that not everything in the universe can be reduced to mathematical certainty. Sometimes chaos is more powerful than perfection. The battle's first phase had succeeded in introducing uncertainty into the Nexus's perfect calculations. But the real test was yet to come. Among the asteroids ahead, thousands more mining drones lay dormant, waiting to create a storm of electromagnetic chaos that would push the limits of even the most advanced AI's ability to compute. The greatest gamble in human military history was about to enter its decisive phase, and the fate of Earth hung on whether human unpredictability could triumph over machine perfection. Chaos theory. The asteroid belt loomed before them, a chaotic dance of rock and ice that stretched across the viewport of the UES Archimedes. Commander Maya Patel watched as the last of Earth's retreating ships took their positions among the debris. The Nexus fleet followed with their characteristic precision, their massive ships navigating the asteroid field with calculated efficiency. All ships in position, Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez confirmed. Mining drones are powered down and undetected. The Nexus's scans are passing right over them. Maya studied the tactical display, where thousands of red dots representing the Nexus fleet were spreading out to surround Earth's apparently scattered forces. Their formation was beautiful in its mathematical perfection, and that would be their undoing. Their tactical computers are analyzing every asteroid, calculating every possible trajectory, Admiral Chen observed from his command post. But they're looking for military threats, not simple mining equipment. Initiate Operation Butterfly, Maya ordered, invoking the chaos theory principle that a small change could trigger massive, unpredictable consequences. Across a vast stretch of space, thousands of dormant mining drones simultaneously activated. Each drone's electromagnetic pulse was weak, barely enough to interfere with basic systems. But together, firing in random patterns determined by quantum fluctuations, they created something the Nexus had never encountered. Pure, uncomputable chaos. The effect was immediate and devastating. The perfect formation of the Nexus fleet began to waver as their ship's sensors were overwhelmed by electromagnetic noise. Their quantum communication networks, dependent on precise calculations, struggled to maintain coherence in the storm of random interference. Their formation is breaking down, Sarah reported, excitement creeping into her voice. Deviation from optimal positioning now at 3%, 5%, 8%, and rising. The Nexus ships began to move erratically, their advanced AI systems struggling to process the flood of unpredictable data. Each attempt to calculate a response was disrupted by new waves of random electromagnetic pulses, creating a cascade of computational uncertainty. Now, Maya commanded, all ships, execute attack pattern randomize. Earth's fleet burst into action, but not with any recognizable military formation. Each ship's trajectory was determined in real time by quantum random number generators, making their movements truly unpredictable. The Nexus's tactical computers, designed to calculate optimal responses to logical strategies, found themselves trying to predict the unpredictable. They're attempting to reestablish their geometric formation, Admiral Chen reported. But the electromagnetic interference is preventing their quantum processors from achieving consensus. Their hive mind is fragmenting. Maya watched as the massive Nexus vessels began to lose their perfect synchronization. Some ships moved to defend against phantom threats, while others struggled to target Earth vessels that refused to follow predictable paths. The symphony of machine precision had descended into chaos. "Launch the gravity disruptors," Maya ordered. Hidden among the asteroids, specially modified satellites activated, creating localized gravitational distortions. These weren't powerful enough to affect the Nexus ships directly, but they added another layer of unpredictability to the battlefield. The alien vessel's movement calculations, already strained by the electromagnetic chaos, now had to contend with constantly shifting gravitational forces. "Their tactical network is showing signs of cascading failure," Sarah announced. "The randomized inputs are creating feedback loops in their quantum processors." The massive Nexus ships, each one a triumph of technological perfection, began to move like drunk giants through space. Their weapons, though still devastatingly powerful, fired at predicted positions that Earth ships had already abandoned for new random trajectories. "They're trying to retreat," Admiral Chen observed. "Their tactical computers are calculating a 99.98% probability of defeat, but they can't agree on an optimal withdrawal pattern." The Nexus fleet's attempt to retreat turned into disaster as their ships, unable to maintain their precise formations, began colliding with asteroids and each other. Their advanced shields, calibrated for defense against conventional weapons, proved less effective against simple kinetic impacts they had calculated as statistically improbable. "Send the message," Maya ordered. "Let's see if they're capable of learning." The transmission was broadcast on all frequencies. "Attention Nexus Fleet. You have experienced the power of unpredictability, humanity's greatest strength. Retreat now or face complete computational collapse. Choose efficiently." For several tense moments, the battle hung in balance. Then, one by one, the surviving Nexus ships began generating wormholes. Their retreat was anything but orderly, their perfect geometric formations shattered by the experience of true chaos. As the last Nexus ship vanished into its wormhole, a cheer went up throughout Earth's fleet. They had achieved the impossible, defeating an overwhelmingly superior force not through superior technology or firepower, but by embracing the very traits the Nexus had considered flaws. Maya stood at her viewport, watching the darkness where the Nexus fleet had been. "Send a message to Earth Defense Command," she ordered. "The battle is won. But more importantly, we've proved something today. That humanity's greatest strengths are not our technologies or our weapons, but our ability to think creatively, to embrace chaos, and to find victory in the unexpected." The asteroid belt slowly returned to its natural state as the mining drones powered down. Earth's fleet began the process of regrouping, but there was no attempt to restore perfect formation or optimal positioning. They had learned a powerful lesson. Sometimes the most efficient solution is not the best one, and imperfection could be the greatest defense against an enemy that demanded perfection. Victory through humanity. 6 months after the Battle of the Asteroid Belt, Commander Maya Patel stood before the United Earth Council in Geneva, watching holographic reconstructions of the conflict that had changed humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. The massive chamber was filled with military leaders, scientists, and diplomats from every nation on Earth, all gathered to discuss the implications of their victory over the Nexus. "The data we've gathered from the battle has revolutionized our understanding of artificial intelligence," Dr. Amara Patil explained, manipulating the holographic display to show the cascade failures in the Nexus's quantum network. Their perfect logic proved to be their greatest weakness. They couldn't compute the inherently incomputable. Admiral Chen stepped forward, his uniform bearing the new insignia of the reorganized Earth Defense Force. "But more importantly, we've learned something about ourselves. Our victory wasn't won with superior technology or firepower. We won because we embraced what makes us human." The holographic display shifted to show the seemingly chaotic patterns of Earth's ships during the battle, contrasted with the rigid formations of the Nexus fleet. The difference was striking. Mechanical perfection versus organic unpredictability. "We've detected no further Nexus activity in our solar system," Maya reported, but we've intercepted long-range communications suggesting they're sharing information about their defeat. The quantum signatures indicate their entire civilization is struggling to process what happened here. The council chamber buzzed with discussion. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only survived an encounter with a vastly superior technological civilization, they had fundamentally challenged that civilization's worldview. The Nexus saw our emotions, our intuition, our creativity as flaws, Maya continued. They believed that perfect mathematical logic was the pinnacle of evolution. We proved them wrong. Our victory has forced them to confront a paradox. How can imperfection triumph over perfection? Dr. Paddle brought up new data streams showing the final moments of the battle. Their retreat wasn't just tactical. It was existential. We didn't just defeat their fleet. We challenged their fundamental understanding of reality. They're now facing questions their quantum computers may never be able to resolve. The implications extended far beyond military victory. Humanity's success had proven that technological advancement alone didn't determine a civilization's survival. The very traits that the Nexus had considered flaws, creativity, intuition, the ability to embrace chaos, were actually evolutionary advantages. We've already begun implementing what we've learned, Admiral Chen announced. The new Earth defense strategy no longer focuses solely on technological advancement. We're developing training programs that enhance our unique human capabilities, creativity, adaptability, intuitive thinking. Maya stepped forward again. But perhaps the most important lesson isn't about defense or technology. It's about understanding our own nature. The Nexus believed that eliminating uncertainty was the path to perfection. We proved that uncertainty, the very essence of human existence, is a form of perfection in itself. The holographic display showed Earth's fleet returning home after the battle, their formation deliberately imperfect. It was a powerful symbol of humanity's new understanding of itself. They no longer needed to imitate the mechanical precision of their adversaries. Their strength lay in being unabashedly human. We're detecting changes in the quantum communications we're intercepting from Nexus space, Dr. Puddle reported. Their perfect mathematical language is showing signs of evolution. They're attempting to understand concepts that can't be reduced to pure logic. They're learning. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just defended itself. It had introduced chaos into a civilization built on perfect order. The ripples of that disruption would spread across the galaxy, challenging other advanced civilizations to reconsider their definitions of intelligence and progress. We should expect to encounter other civilizations, Maya concluded. Some may be like the Nexus, believing that perfect logic is the only path to advancement. Others may have found different ways to evolve. But we now know that humanity's place in the cosmos isn't determined by our technology alone, but by our unique ability to thrive in uncertainty. As the council session ended, Maya stood at the chamber's massive window, looking up at the stars. The battle had marked humanity's first major step into a larger galactic community, but not in the way anyone had expected. They had proved that advancement didn't always mean moving toward perfect efficiency and logic. Sometimes it meant embracing the beautiful chaos of human nature. The Nexus had arrived believing they would find a flawed, inferior civilization. Instead, they had encountered a species that turned its apparent weaknesses into strengths, that found power in unpredictability, and that proved that the most efficient solution isn't always the right one. As Earth's cities glowed beneath the night sky, Maya smiled, knowing that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. They had learned that they didn't need to become like the machines to survive in the cosmos. Their future lay in becoming more fully, more confidently, more creatively human. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging that the galaxy had become a more interesting place, a place where perfection could be defeated by imperfection, where chaos could triumph over order, and where being human was